My professor always said closed guard is a death sentence at the higher levels. And I tell my students that if I get closed guard, you lose. I'm going to win. You lose. I have so much control.
Welcome to Forever White Belt. I'm your host, Adolfo Ferranda. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to someone who is quickly becoming a powerful and refreshing voice in the Jiu-Jitsu community, Randy William. Randy is a BJJ black belt, second degree, competitor and passionate content creator who's known for his sharp technical insights, detailed instructionals, and thought-provoking breakdowns that reach thousands across Instagram, YouTube, and beyond. What stands out about Randy isn't just his skill on the mat, it's his dedication to sharing practical, no-fluff jiu-jitsu and creating accessible pathways for grapplers at all stages of their journey. In this conversation, we get into Randy's personal evolution in jiu-jitsu, his teaching philosophy, what inspires his content creation, and how he approaches growth both as a practitioner and as a coach. We also dive into the importance of training environments and how to handle setbacks, and his broader vision for the sport's future. And with that, I give you Randy William. Randy, welcome to the show, man.
Hello, how are you doing, man?
Good, good. I'm so glad to have you on the show. You know, I discovered you through your social media, your IG. You have like these really fantastic videos and really great content. It's super fun and funny at times too, but very helpful.
Also, I appreciate that. The whole reason I started was I move a lot. My wife's military. Before that, I kind of was nomadic. I traveled a lot, and I kind of wanted a resume, you know? I wanted to be known enough that if I walked into a gym, it's not some random ass black belt.
It's impressive, man, because you've got a lot of nice quality videos too. I thought you were this super techie dude, and people didn't see what we just went through in order to get this started. But Randy went through like two different sets of gaming headphones, so to as microphones, which failed, and then we had to fall back onto his phone, which we're recording on now. So we've been troubleshooting, and somehow you've got this awesome IG presence.
So it's really, I don't find it that difficult. I just downloaded CapCut and just, if you go back far enough, which is funny because my shitty videos did really well compared to now for whatever reason. But I just looked at other creators and just kind of copied the format but made it myself.
Yeah. I was going to say, some people just got the it factor, you know, when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think you're just a natural, it seems like, at it. You know, but people like it. And as you said, they really resonate with it and you're getting a lot of traction. And I think that's just fantastic, man.
I think a lot of it has to do with Joey from Fuel Hunt. He said just be yourself. And I was like, all right, most people in real life don't like me, but the internet seems to like me. It's great.
So, yeah, as you mentioned, your wife travels a lot for military and you've been all over the place too. It seems like you've done a lot of traveling. I've seen you've competed in a lot of different places. I know that you started back in 2009, I believe, and you're originally from Delaware, I think, right? And are you currently in Biloxi?
Yes, I'm in Biloxi right now, Mississippi. It's just a bunch of casinos, man.
Yeah. Can you tell me about like your jujitsu journey, man? From like, what was it like back in 2009? What prompted you to stumble in? Was it UFC like everyone and Chuck Norris?
My ego, my ego more than anything, man. So, long story short, I was dating my son's mother at the time. My son's 11 now, and when I met her was 2009. I was a soccer player, I was a lacrosse player, a basketball player. I was an all-American athlete in three sports, and I just love sports. I grew up playing sports. It was my escape. Well, one day I went to her house, and her dad was like, "Hey, want to make some money?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to make some money." He was a really good man, and we were laying like stones around his swimming pool. And he was like, "Want to wrestle?" I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? All right. Because I was all athletic, and he's not like he wasn't out of shape or anything, but he's late 40s, 50s. And I tackled him. He triangle choked me. I had my thumb in, dislocated my thumb. And I said, that will never happen again. How did you do that? And from that moment on, I was just addicted, right? It's like he showed me some stuff in his basement, which sounds really creepy when you think about it. But he had like the old Henzo Craig Kukluk tapes, and that's my like intro. He was a Henzo blue belt in the 90s. And yeah, that's how I started. He just would show me a couple things. I went to the gym down the street, and I've just been doing it every day almost since.
Where did you join then? Like after that time?
So in Delaware back in the day, there was Alex Lipinski, who he taught in a church, and he's like an OG of Delaware. He started in I think the 90s as well, and he was a balanced black belt. At the time, he was a purple belt, like one of those 15-year purple belts, because there was no one to promote him back then. I met him when he was a purple belt, and I started with him, but also another gym called Team Viper that doesn't exist anymore. It kind of splintered into other gyms, and some of them closed, some of them prosper. You kind of know jiu-jitsu, how it goes. And I trained at two gyms for a while because one was on Monday, Wednesday, and the other was Tuesday, Thursday.
Mm.
And I would go to lacrosse practice and then go to jiu-jitsu, go soccer, then jiu-jitsu. Like it was, I didn't want to do anything else anymore. I didn't even play sports my senior year. So I kind of bounced around after that. And it wasn't like personal on them. It was I wanted a certain culture. When Team Viper went under Vicente Jr., my current professor, our gym, we were too nice. We didn't make people pay. We didn't care. We just wanted to train, you know. But our gym closed for reasons I never really understood. I was 18 or 19, I think, at the time. And so I started teaching on the Dover Air Force Base as a purple belt, late blue, early purple. That's why I got like my first teaching experience for the most part. Like I did teach at Team Viper on like Fridays, but Dover was like the Air Force Base was my club. It was my thing, and I ran it myself. Then I got married and went to another gym in Delamar for a little while, and then now I'm here.
So how old were you then in 2009?
17.
Wow. So you had a good
Yeah.
start, especially for back then. That was really young. Now we have little kids doing it, but yeah, back then that's very young. And I we should mention, yeah, we should mention that you are a second degree, right? Second degree black belt,
Yeah. Second.
and under Vincente, right?
Yes. Vicente Jr.
And I meet a lot of military guys that are lower belts or even black belts too that have the opportunity to start teaching, on base or something like that, especially early on. And what an opportunity to start learning early at a lower rank, so you can develop your teaching chops, right? So, did you find a lot of value in that?
I found tremendous value in doing my own thing. And it sounds harsh, but I hated both sides. At the time, there was like the CTCs and the online blue belts. And then there was the just throw them to the wolves.
Can you explain what CTC is?
Like the certified training centers, like the Hannah Gracie centers. Not all of them, but we all know the ones that are there. And I hated that they weren't letting people grapple at 6 months. But then I loved it, but I can understand why retention was so bad when you threw people to the wolves. So I tried to be the middle of that with my base. I didn't throw them to the wolves, but they rolled in specific sparring. Like I feel like all this stuff going on now, I've done 10 years ago. Like it's what I've always kind of done. I treated it like a sport first, like a traditional sport.
Well, one thing I like to ask because it's in the in the zeitgeist of jujitsu is your thoughts on ecological jujitsu, constraint-led approach.
I make fun of them all the time because they think they came up with something great that's been around forever. Master De La Riva did situationals. My professor did situationals. I do situationals. You can call it games, you can call it whatever you want. It's all the same concept. And let's go with the concept of constraint led. Static drilling is just hyper constraint led. And how I taught is I would teach that hyper constraint and slowly loosen the constraints over time. That's just what I've always done. I treated it just like I played lacrosse. So you would go position by position, you'd have a positional coach, and then you put the game together. That's what I did when I was a purple belt. We would have a month of half guard, a month of this, a month of that. Now I only do 2 weeks, but I'm a little more evolved now. But yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's that they are so far up Greg Saunders' ass, and they argue with everyone saying we are wrong. I'm like, dude, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you need multiple teaching methods for the different type of people, and they don't seem to think that's a thing.
How'd you learn to teach? How did it evolve? How are you refining your teaching and getting better at teaching now?
So when I first started, I kind of followed my professor's lead. He would do a position a month, and I noticed that didn't work well with beginners. Doing half guard for a month, they just didn't get it. So what I started to do is try to break it down into just the five major positions: mount, back, side control, half guard, guard. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I would spend a week on top, a week on bottom, and I would only teach one technique each one. And then every day was situationals. So you got to work both sides every single day. Whether the focus was top or bottom didn't matter. You worked both sides every day for 2 weeks. And it's a 10-week cycle I follow. And I just change the techniques out depending on who's in the room. If it's a bunch of purple belts on guard week, maybe I'll do De La Riva guard for 2 weeks. But most of my guys are still level 1 and 2. I don't really need to go past closed guard for most people. Everyone wants to skip all the fundamentals. I'm a big fan of fundamentals.
So, where are you teaching now?
So right now I teach at Gracie Gulf Coast. I'm contracted. I don't own the gym. I'm just a business partner at the moment. I work with Jay Johnson. He's a second degree. He's probably a third degree now. He just didn't get promoted yet. He's 52, I think. 240-pound Asian man who just smashes me. He's like 6'2". He's a very intelligent guy. He built the gym like entirely by hand. Like he did all the flooring, all like the benches. He built everything. It looks like a museum in our gym. It's beautiful. He got his black belt from Rob Kahn. So he got his black belt from another armbar expert. We're like the opposite too. It's really fun. We just talk shit the whole day. It's a blast in our gym.
From the videos, it just seems it's mainly gi.
I prefer gi, but I don't care. I'll do catch wrestling. I'll wrestle. I'll do no gi. But I love wearing my gi. I like just having more options. I like having more ways to lose. Like I feel funneled in no gi. I don't like being stuck playing half guard and the typical camping passing. I get bored.
So, are you like teaching mainly then fundamentals classes? Because you said it sounds like mainly your students are like white and blue belt.
Yes, but with that, my classes are structured in a way because again, I was teaching at purple belt, so I had to still learn myself. I teach the opposite of what I am working on. Bear with me. So how I structure my classes so everyone white through black learns, including myself, is like so. Say I'm teaching the arm bar from closed guard. I will teach it in its most basic self-defense form to teach all the main core movements and concepts. Everyone should review that anyway, but we'll pretend purple belt skipped that part. The next moment of that class, and sometimes the next class, is all the secondary things like off balancing, the knocking their base off to set it up using weight distribution. There's finer things. Then the third step in that would be adding it to your previous systems. I believe the fastest way to learn is build off previous knowledge. So if you already had, let's say you had a good triangle, let's add the armbar to it. And then that whole time in my mind, I'm working on how to defend armbars. So when we play the situational games, I kind of cheat. I just always be the guy on top so you can keep armbarring me and I can keep getting out, like line drills. I don't ever leave. But that's how I keep improving while also making sure everyone at each level can improve. Because say I'm on that fancy schmancy systemized party armbar, the white and blues can still drill at the same armbar if they need to, all in the same day. Everyone can learn. In theory. Sometimes I mess up, but that's the goal, is to make it so everyone can pick up something. And if you don't pick up anything, you refine.
What makes a great student?
Work ethic. Easily. I have been like I am lucky, don't get me wrong. I have a bunch of military guys who just come in, do what you're told kind of guys. If you just do what you're told, you'll be good in my class. You'll be really good. It's the ones who argue when they don't know anything. And don't get me wrong, arguing can be a good thing once you understand the game. But the guys who walk in and they're just like, dude, I'm just here to learn. Yep, yes, sir, no, sir. It's just easier to teach those guys. They just do. And the athleticism, yes, most of my guys are athletic. It does make the job easier, don't get me wrong. But I have some really nerdy guys that are weathermen. They're honestly my best students right now. They do what they're told. Like I have this guy who writes everything down. He just loves to be a student. And that's what makes a good student ultimately is they're consistent and they put in the effort. Because just showing up isn't enough to me. That's not good enough.
So, when you say I want to see effort, what does that mean specifically to you?
You should be trying to do what I told you to do to the best of your ability. It doesn't mean you're going to succeed. I'm not looking for success in the training room all of the time. If you're trying to do a mount escape and you're just stuck in mount, keep trying until you're tired. Keep trying till the bell rings. Just try. The worst that happens is you get tapped and you can try again. It's the whole get knocked down seven, stand up eight kind of thing. You can't really teach it, but I can hope for it.
Just a reminder to please give us a 5-star review on Apple Music and Spotify and become a VIP member for only 99 cents a month. Get ad free episodes at anchor.fm/forever white belt /subscribe. And check us out on Instagram at Forever White Belt Show. Go buy your Forever White Belt swag at teespring.com/forever-white-belt. Check us out on YouTube now at Forever White Belt. Finally, if you ever get to beautiful Northern California, please come roll with us at North Bay Jiu-Jitsu in Marin County, just north of San Francisco. They're amazing instructors and everyone there are great people. Mention the podcast and get 2 weeks free. What, in your opinion, makes a great instructor?
Relatability is a big part of it. Being able to relate information to other things. I played lacrosse, I play Yu-Gi-Oh, I play card games, I lift weights. Everyone who walks in my door, I can relate to them in some way, shape, or form, take the concept and apply it to something they know. I'll use wrestlers, for example, because they're really easy. A sit out and a knee slice pass are the same mechanic, the exact same thing. What do you think the first thing I teach a wrestler is? A knee slice pass. And almost all of them, they go in their first tournament, knee slice, kiss up people, and tap them with an Americana. I build games around people. I don't make clones of myself. That just doesn't work.
Have you tried to make clones of yourself previously?
Only two. There's only two people, and it's because one chance, for example, no joke, we're the same weight. I think we're within an inch in height. I think our lifts are almost the exact same. My deadlift is probably better because he just refuses to do it, but we're like the same body type in every way. But even still, he's really good at armbars for a blue belt. But he has his preferences too. He likes front headlocks. I do not like front headlocks. Everyone's a little different. I don't want to make clones. I just require a decent armbar because that's what we're known for, you know? A little bit of selfishness, but not a clone.
Isn't that wild though, that like everyone sort of has their own proclivity, right? Whether it's like for various techniques or something too, oftentimes we seem to sort of stereotype maybe a long guy, tall, and he's like, oh man, he's gonna be so good at triangles or whatever, maybe, and that kind of thing. And I've met tall guys where like they hate triangling, and they want to play what we would think is a kind of a stout man's type of game, and they're effective at that.
Hmm. Let's go back to that instructor question. There's something I preach a lot. I will never post on Instagram a technique I cannot hit on a purple belt. Everything I teach, I do. Like whatever I teach, I spam it the whole day just to piss them off to show it works. There's two things I do. I build games around what they already know. I have a soccer player. I was a soccer player. He's really good at that outside passing because that's lunging and that's footwork. I can relate to that. I build a game around the player, but I also do the opposite. I build a game around where they keep messing up. I'll use myself for example. I love knee slice passing, but one of my biggest flaws when I was crappy, like even still, now I do it on purpose. I would always lose that underhook. Now I'm just good at countering the underhook. So I build off mistakes and I build off previous knowledge. They're the two most powerful things to build off of, in my opinion.
Yeah, I always use the example of like early on, I was terrible at like getting out of close guard, right? Just standing up, just weak legs and glutes and stuff like that to get out. And so when we did like stand up engagements and someone would pull, I got really good at just not allowing close guard, just playing outside and Toriando and all that stuff.
My professor always said close guard is a death sentence at the higher levels. And I tell my students that if I get close guard, you lose. I'm going to win. You lose. I have so much control. But like that example is great. I made a reel a long time ago and it got like 100, 200 some thousand views. It was one of my first ones. It's just me sitting in close guard saying sometimes the best thing to do is just wait. Like just build good frames, wait. And they open their own guard because I'm not a patient guy, but I'm more patient than you.
Well, I always mention too, especially not in the gi, in order for someone to attack you from close guard, they have to open their guard.
They have to. It's not a choice. It's not a choice.
Like you said, patience is a big part of the game.
It is, especially as you get older. Like I'm not old yet. Yes, I'm kind of preparing my game for it, but I still use my athleticism all the time. But as you get older and you lose speed, you have to make up for it somewhere. And usually that's static strength. And that's why I lift weights. I'm prepared, man.
So, Randy, how old are you now?
I will be 33 the end of this month, April 28th.
So I find that fascinating that you're getting wisdom at 33 and becoming aware of those type of things and thinking about those type of things at your age now. Because a lot of guys at 33 do not, or even 32 are not thinking about, they're still kind of trailing off from their 20s and still thinking about their attacks and that type of stuff. Not like, what do I need to think about in the next phase of my jujitsu?
Jiu-Jitsu didn't teach me life lessons. Life lessons taught me how to Jiu-Jitsu, I guess. Like I did it the other way around. Jiu-Jitsu's always been a sport to me. I never wanted to be somebody that was looked up to because I was good at a sport. I thought that was a ridiculous concept. Now I do understand. I don't have a choice. Like people will look up to you whether you're a piece of shit or not just because you're wearing a black belt. And I try to be very honest in all of those things. But the wisdom came from just life experience, man. I grew up in foster care. I got adopted at 16, and then I love my adopted parents, but I had a lot of ego and pride. So when I turned 18, I was like, I can do everything by myself. I lived at my gym when I was in college. My gym took care of me. And when I was 28, my first wife passed away. So I learned everything through actual life and applied it to jujitsu. I make the joke, I may be young, but I got a lot of hours, man.
You talk about even something as common or maybe not common as strength training. I hear you kind of peppering in weightlifting and things like this, not just for the sake of it, but also thinking about it for your armor for jujitsu as well, right?
Armor is longevity. Since I started lifting, I have not had a major injury at all. Like, yeah, I got my arm tweaked, but that wasn't because I was weak. It was because I got my arm caught in a bad position and didn't tap fast enough, I guess. I'll take my own blame. Jiu-jitsu should be the easiest part of your day, right? If jiu-jitsu is relatively easy on your body, you won't get hurt. Even if they're bigger, stronger, faster, doesn't matter if you can just frame, and you do need a base level of strength to do literally anything in jujitsu. And what I do is I lift very heavy but slow and consistent. Slow, consistent grind. That's why I do 5-3-1. It's a month program every month. Like it's slow. Like I add 5 pounds every month. It's really slow. But I don't hurt myself lifting.
Hmm.
I'm at pretty decent numbers for my weight class. And jujitsu's so easy. And I don't even try. Like I just flame out, wiggle, play. Like it's made my jujitsu 10 times better because I don't want to use my strength. I just want to have honor.
Yeah, that's always been my Achilles is weightlifting. I get so bored with it and I just kind of walk away from it. I think I was drawn early on to the allure of flexibility, and so I really focused on flexibility and I became very flexible. But what I didn't understand, that's something that Henry Akins taught me, was flexibility is great, but unless you're strong at end of range of your flexibility, you're in danger. And I've been injured just because of what Henry said. He was 100% correct.
So I make the joke that if you never want to get injured, like you just avoid injury, tap any time you are in a place where you would, what's it called, active range of motion or passive? Yeah, passive range of motion. If this is as far as you can physically do it, right? Like this is as far as that's where you should tap. You shouldn't let that happen. I've never been injured because of tapping per se. When things happen fast, it just is. But when it comes to shoulder locks, I have no shoulder injuries, no knee injuries, no hip injuries. I've had one knee injury, well, two. One was my own fault.
There was a phase I was going through where I was exploring late stage defense, right? Like, and then I got really stage defense down to like, the razor's edge there. And what I found was just after doing that just so much, it's not even like you mentioned, like a thing like just tap when you're there, it's more like we're going to play like this. But over the years and doing that over time, it's just kind of tread on the tire that you're losing slowly and slowly and slowly, right? So I'm curious, how do you work on your late stage defense?
I don't get there. I know it's the worst jujitsu answer ever. So in competition, from the waist up, I've never been submitted as a black belt. From the waist down, that's a different story. Every loss I have is a leg lock. I'm telling my secrets out there now. But it's because I believe in strong fundamentals. Like all these dudes that are grabbing the collar tie and then getting flying armbarred in their gut, bro, that shouldn't happen. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Me and my coach, my friend Alberto, we talked about that literally today. How the smallest fundamentals are now blowing people's mind, which is nuts. I'm like, I learned that when I was a white belt, dude. You suck.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
one of the most like prolific things was something that Chris Paynes once said. It was just don't let anyone between your elbow and your armpits.
All right. Well, basically, knee elbow space. Yeah, right here. What offense or defense?
And he's like, and that negates like 90 some odd percent of, and I'm like, that's brilliant.
That's why I don't believe leg locks are fundamental to the sport. I mean, they're fundamental to the sport, but not to self defense. Because in theory, leg locks break the hierarchy of pass, solidify, submit. You don't have to pass the guard, you just grab a leg. And vice versa. What do I need to retain my guard for? What do I need to sweep you for? You just grab your leg. It's great for the sport, it's great for efficiency in the sport, but it builds some bad habits.
I should add that Chris and Preet Mikkelsen would say they add more detail to that. That's the most easiest one, but it's really, the armpit to the knee is what they say, and nothing. Don't let them get behind your knees and behind your neck. So from that, you're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And those type of statements are very eco nowadays. I'm like, bro, we've been saying like the oldest one, hey, to not get triangle, just don't let one arm in, one arm out. I would argue triangles are the first technique I learned to conceptualize. There's just so many ways to do it.
I'm curious, what techniques do people primarily associate you with?
Arm bars. Arm bars and a lot of and ankle picks.
Ankle picks, interesting. I was going to ask, what is there another part of your jujitsu that's like overlooked? You know what I mean? Or people that are just not aware of when it comes to your game?
Oh, definitely my takedowns because they're so non-existent most of the time. I just do nothing because I just mess with people. But my arm drags and ankle picks are really, really fast because I just draw the shit out of them. I make people reach, so I'll just hold my hand out when you reach. I just open my own elbow and just take the arm drag. I do that all of the time. I've done it to black belts. I've done it to All American wrestlers. I've done it to everybody. It's one of my favorite techniques, and it's the only one I can really do on my feet is an arm drag, a Russian, things that have to do with dragging. Falling body weight's powerful.
Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes.
What's been your interest as of late in training?
Doing nothing. I know that sounds crazy. So, like the last several months, I've just gone all the way back and took all the techniques I know and just added more principles to them. The main three, the old Gracie weight distribution, connection, and base. Standing up in base is the most important technique in all of jiu-jitsu right now for me. If you can just hip switch, baseball slide, that's like 80% of my game right there. I was editing a video on an armbar. I'm like, all you do for an armbar is just to sit out. You guys make it so hard with these big step overs. That's what I was doing tonight. I was teaching just do a sit out. It's not hard.
When you were early on in your journey, or even now, I'm curious, what was your style like?
I'm very aggressive. For the longest time, I was just painfully overly aggressive. My guard was get on top as quick as possible. It was very violent guard. I didn't want to play guard. I wanted to sweep or submit you as quick as possible. Same with my passing. I was a big outside passer for a long time because I was only 140 pounds and I was real quick. I was a goalie in soccer and lacrosse, so that very fast twitch, explosive movements were what I was good at. So I just focused on that until, no joke, I moved down here. I slowed a lot down and timed my speed. So now I crush people, and then you use that pressure to set up my speed. But honestly, my top game is force a knee shield, let them try to get an underhook, and rip their arm off. It doesn't matter which arm. They'll give me one of them. It's very, very aggressive on top. My guard's a lot more nice. I play a lot of Daily Heaver and Flippity Floppity and whatever. I don't care anymore. It goes through phases. If I'm strength training heavy, my game is a lot more relaxed. If I am more in a deload, I'm much more aggressive because I can't do both. It's unless I'm on steroids. I can't do both right now. Only once in a while.
I'm glad you say that because that's one thing I've noticed too with guys. It really takes a lot out of them when they're like serious like lifters, and like you see the CrossFit guys when they come in too, right? And they're just dying after they do jujitsu, and then you see them make the choice of one or the other.
Well, you could argue that it's jujitsu is a different kind of cardio, but if I took you and made you play lacrosse, you'd die in 5 minutes too. It's just efficiency in the sport. That's what it boils down to. So there's a reason brown belts are fat. It's because they're too efficient. There's a fine line between efficiency and laziness. I didn't strength train. I drank the Kool-Aid like every other black belt. I was like, what do I need muscles for if I can just choke you? But I was 28 and my back always hurt, my joints hurt, I was always sore, and I couldn't roll with a 240-pound guy every day. I still shouldn't, but I do. It was just like, it became this, I know I can beat you, but is it worth being sore tomorrow? Which, when I say it out loud to people, they get offended, but I'm like, bro, it's not personal. You're just not worth the time.
Yeah, and like I mean, when we're training, we're training. We're competing, we're competing.
Cross training and competing are the same thing nowadays. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone wants to tap the little ginger black belt. Everyone always tried to rip my head off, which is kind of why I'm so aggressive. If you get on top, stay on top, you're not going to get hurt. I didn't even submit people most of the time. I just maul them with a crossface, and honestly, half the time they would just run into it. They did it themselves. And then I was the asshole somehow. I was very good on top because you're a lot less likely to get hurt. Rolling with a fat guy, he could slip and fall and hurt me. But if I'm on top, him slipping, he just falls on his face.
So, you bring up the armbar. Let's expand on the armbar. Well, number one, what's everyone doing wrong with the armbar? What are you seeing?
Too loose. More than anything, it's just too loose. They care more about controlling just the arm versus the posture and the rotation. So you'll see a lot of people overextend. If you watch my arm bars in guard, I don't hip up. I drive my heels to the ground. Very different. You can't stack me. It's impossible to stack me because my hips are glued to the mat. That's one of the biggest ones with guard. They lift their hips off the mat. And that's something my professor taught me a long, long time ago. And people overgeneralize sometimes, like the whole crossing the feet thing. If both my feet are this way, clamping down, I'm good. Crossing, not good. But both going this way and crossing is fine because now I'm dipping your shoulder and I can sweep you and do all kinds of things.
Yeah, that was Ronda Rousey. She crossed her
Yeah.
feet all the time and destroy people.
If you notice, she didn't finish on the bottom. That's why it didn't matter. Her job wasn't to finish on bottom. I don't like finishing my arm bars on the bottom. I want to get on top because if my arm bar fails on the bottom, you can punch me in the mouth in theory, or choke me, or stack me, or make my back sore. If I'm on top and it fails, I'm still on top.
I don't know if it bothered me, but I always thought there's that saying, like, if I'm on top, I want to stay on top if I can. So if I get this arm bar or whatever it may be, and if I can finish it from top, don't you think that'd be a better option potentially than falling to your back?
So I got in a big argument online with a bunch of people that the self-defense armbar from mount is dog shit because why would I spin this big movement and fall on my back with momentum where somebody could sit up when I could just punch them in the mouth and slide up and break their arm across my hip? And I'm not to say the self-defense armbar is not good to learn. I just don't think it's good for self-defense. Why would I fall on my back? That's stupid. I teach self-defense first because it teaches all the core concepts with true consequence. If you mess up, you can get punched in the mouth. In jiu-jitsu, if me and you are grappling and your hands are down, both hands framing, well, yeah, I'm going to punish you. I'm just going to grill your neck, but there's no consequence. Tap, reset. But if both your hands are down and I can touch your face, I'm going to close face you. I could, in theory, punch you. I can choke you, and I can expose your knee elbow space.
What makes your arm bars different than, what everyone else is sort of teaching?
Huh. Never really thought about that. I just drill them a lot. I don't think I'm too good at them. I have a dummy right there. I'm sitting on a heavy bag and I still drill them. I still do the body mechanics to them. I just try to see how tight I can make it. Like, again, the thing I'm editing now is, the far side armbar? Everyone teaches jack them up on their side. Why would I do that? Why would I make all that space where I could just baseball slide through? It's the law of engineering. The more moving parts, the more it breaks. I try to take away as many moving parts as possible. And a hip switch, when you're pivoting on 2 points, there's no moving parts because you're pivoting.
So when you are on your back, so let's talk about arm bars from different positions too. So arm bar from the back, arm bar from the side, arm bar from top.
So the back is one of my favorites. If I fall to the bad side on the choking arm, like the non-strong side, I'll hit it all the time. I'll fake a bow and arrow and just take the arm. It's very simple, very effective. I'll just take a palm grip like this since they can't break it usually.
And that's kind of like universal jujitsu, right? I mean, that would work. Gi no gi.
My whole technique choices, I try to teach them in a way that they work in gi, no gi, self-defense, and MMA. I try to be as balanced as I can. And of course, there's exceptions. Like I like De La Riva a lot, so I modify it a little bit, but we all have our vices. Sometimes I'm a hypocrite. Jiu-Jitsu is the most hypocritical thing I've ever explained.
So then the arm bars from other positions that you prefer.
Side control, my favorite. The near side is awesome. We call it the Rob Khan armbar. You just check the neck, they frame on your hip, boom, shotgun armbar. I hit it all of the time. I'll do like a double under from north south, so then I could choose which arm I'm going to attack based on which way they want to try to underhook and roll. But the traditional, my professor's bread and butter, the old spinning arm, I just hit it all the time. It's tried and true, man. No matter what they do, I get it. I like when they know what I'm gonna do and I can still do it.
Can you talk about the culture that you've created or that you like to create when you're teaching?
I like a balanced culture of the traditional, hey, get out of my way when I'm rolling. I'm a black belt. And we still line up by rank, not because I'm better than you, because I have severe ADHD at times and don't know who's who. So I need to pair you up properly. It's a safety thing. And I still believe in hierarchy, whether it's jujitsu or your corporate job, there's a hierarchy. I train a lot of military guys, there's a hierarchy, but we all go get beer after. We're all friends. I don't have a student I'm not friends with. And I know that sounds crazy because I've had countless where I still talk to almost all of them. And of course, you drift, but like I've never had a student like fuck me over or anything crazy. Like I have two affiliates essentially. Like I have a Delaware and Arkansas. They're two of my students. Both of them are godparent to one of my two children. We're all like close. We grew up together. I was a kid teaching kids, right? That's a big part of the culture is we all help each other. I'm not like some god. I need a babysitter at times too. I need help. And my students help me. I help them. One of my guys comes over, watches my kids so I could take my wife on dates. He was out of a job. He stayed with me for a while, gave him Burger King coupons. Like you just help each other all the time, man. That's the whole goal. It's still a martial art. Build up people the best you can.
It's interesting because watching your IG videos, they seem so fun and gregarious, a lot of them. And it doesn't come off like you're sort of describing now of like the military and the hierarchy and the structure and the expectations of toughness and what I'm sort of discerning through between your words.
Because you still need those things to have fun. There has to be organization. There has to be. Because if there's no organization, everything falls apart.
Yeah, chaos.
It falls apart. But like I'll be recording a reel, like I hate the hook part of the reels. Like I hate it. I feel like a corn dog. And I posted the other day, I was like, do you want to see something something? And one of my students just moaned, yeah. I'm like, shut the fuck up, God motherfucker. It's like we just fuck with each other. There's no bullying. Because I tell all of my guys, it's only bullying if you do it to somebody you can beat exclusively. Like I bully Jay, and he beats my ass. So I'm not a bully, right? In theory, that's kind of how we look at it. We muffle each other. Like there's no dick moves because in our heart of hearts, we know we all love and respect each other.
So is that like a humor?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I find that's core in my belief is like it's a humor thing, right? That's sort of my center, and sometimes that just rubs people the wrong way because they see that as like not taking things serious when
Or
I take my
disrespectful.
jujitsu extremely serious. Yeah, or disrespectful. Sure.
Dude, I talk so much shit to people. I just talk shit all the time. I tell my guys, some of them are like nervous to like bring their parents or significant others because they never know what kind of crazy shit I'm gonna say on accident. But I just whatever pops in my head, I think is just hilarious because nothing offends me, and sometimes I forget that's not people. Like no joke, when I first moved to Mississippi, no one knew who I was except like one guy, and he knew some of my past. And someone's like, "Oh, you're on your second wife." I was like, "Yeah, the first one's in my trunk." And she actually, well, like her ashes are actually in my trunk. So it's like, they no one. One day, two of my guys caught on to him like, "Yo, what the fuck is that? Really?" Like we make fun of. There's nothing off limits. Like, Because it's just funny. No one really cares.
I love that. I love that. Nothing's taboo. Good for you, man.
George Carlin always said everything's a joke when nothing is. And I took that to heart, man.
Can you talk about your criteria for belting?
So the only one I have a true criteria for is blue. Everything else is art. Everything after blue is art, whatever you want, whatever path. You want to be a hobbyist, you want to be a competitor, you want to be a teacher, you want to be an amateur. I don't care. I will do my best to get you where you need to be. But blue, you have to be able to defend yourself against 90% of people who walk in that door. I don't deviate that standard. Yeah, if a 240-pound All American comes in against my 110-pound little Asian chick, yeah. But generally speaking, you can't be a blue belt and get beat up by a wrestler. Like, you can be dominated, you can be outworked, but you cannot be submitted by a guy who walks in the door that's never done jujitsu. That's unacceptable. Like, self defense is paramount. After that, I don't care what you do. That's the only time I ever test anybody, and I do it discreetly because I love surprise promotions. I just throw their belt at them after a while. Like, here you go. You have to know certain things. You have to be able to hold all the major dominant positions. You should be able to hold somebody for 5 minutes on top. If they don't know anything, you should be able to just dominate them. You should be able to survive all the non-dominant positions against most people, even in the gym. Like, if you're a decent, almost blue belt and you just hide, no offense, you just hide, you should be able to survive. And that's pretty much it, really. It's not as specific like you have to know 16 arm bars because I like arm bars.
I know that you've been to a lot of different academies, you've taught at different places, you've worked, trained at various places. Can you give me like, you don't have to name specifics, but some of the pros and cons you see of different places, in order to, what are people doing right? What are people like could improve on?
Ultimately, it depends on the goals of the gym. You can't expect a hobbyist who now owns a gym because he got his black belt at the right time to be teaching good competitors.
What does at the right time mean?
In 2012, he got a black belt. It was almost guaranteed you could open a gym and be somewhat successful. Now there's a ton of us, and everyone thinks they can just do it. Most of them fail. Everyone thinks they know better than their professor, and every gym splinters. There's literally gyms who open called eco submission grappling. Like, come on now, man. You can't expect everything from everyone. If I go to Chris Bones' gym, Chris Bones, trying to learn a berimbolo, I'm going to be disappointed. He's a master of self-defense and connection and base and all of those cool things. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. And he shouldn't come to my gym expecting self-defense techniques every single day. He should come to my gym expecting to work his ass off. Like, we have different expectations. With all the gyms I've visited, I've never been to one that was just so awful that I've left. And I have said, if somebody's rude or they suck that bad, I'll leave. But that's never happened because I've always tried to be realistic with my expectations. I don't want to say make excuses for them, but be realistic with them. If I am going to a gym and it's a 60-year-old black belt woman who's half my size, that's what am I supposed to? I'm not going to beat her up. That's rude. But if her students are doing really well, because my professor always says, judge a gym by their blue belts. If their blue belts are doing very well, then that's a good gym. Because purple belts start to get fancy and lazy, brown belts are lazy, and black belts, hell, half of them don't even roll anymore.
One thing I'm curious about also is your online offerings. Like I said, you're this guy that just you're a busy boy. You got all this stuff happening, man. You create all this stuff in terms of your IG and your offerings and this Gumroad stuff and all the stuff that I've been looking into with you. You have like these mini instructionals. I don't know if forgive me for calling them mini instructionals, but you have these things, they're very specific. You have something on closed guard, something on what you call American side control escapes, and then you have an S mount, total, type of offering. Can you expand on those a bit?
So I was bored one day and I did apply because I had somebody messaging, hey, you should try to do the whole Fanatics thing. And they were like, nah, bro, we did enough of these and we did too many. I was like, I get it. Cool. And it popped into my head, who the hell likes watching like a 3-hour DVD? You know what? I'm going to pick one technique and just be stupidly detailed with it. And yeah, you could probably find it on YouTube, but I'm going to sell it anyway and just not make it YouTube. And it worked out really, really well. So I just was like, I'll just undercut everybody since I'm already financially stable. I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm happy. And it was like, here, $10, and you can get this armbar. And the first one I did, I made like $600 in 2 days. And I was like, oh, that was cool, man. That was really cool. And I did it all on my phone. Well, and I would just sell it as a Google Drive link because I didn't know how to use I didn't want to use OnlyFans because I knew they needed to be a membership and it's just weird. And I didn't know about anything else at the time. So I just was like, hey, cash at me $10 and I'll send you this Google Drive link. It's kind of shady now that I think about it, you know? But not one time has somebody thought I was scamming them. They just sent it and I sent them a link and everyone was happy. Like I haven't gotten any complaints.
Wow. I like your hustle.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny, honestly. And I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna make more. So I made like one a week for like a couple weeks and made some quick cash for Christmas, and then I forgot about it. And then I made a reel on why I like the bicep frame and Pledge of Allegiance better than the traditional frames. And it got a lot of requests on, hey, do an instructional. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna film 3 hours, but I'll do a half hour. That's good enough. Because I don't teach you what you already know. I teach you how to use what you already know. I just add to systems, like I said, build on previous knowledge. And that took me forever to film because my mind was fried. And it took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours to film a half hour thing. So then I was like, oh, this is too big to like sell. And no one, so I just put it on Gumroad because I didn't know that was the only one I could find that was like OnlyFans, but you didn't need an account for, so they could use their credit card and do things normal people would do. But they could still buy it from me and be like, hey, here's Cash App. There's people who mess with me because I'll post it and then they'll just send me money. And like, bro, I don't know who sent me this. Can you please freaking text me first or DM me first so I could send it to you? I had
Wow.
one guy, I was like, I couldn't find it for like 3 days. He's like, oh, I figured you'd get around eventually. Like, dude, I appreciate your support, but bro, please.
But you have all this other stuff too. You've got like some Instagram like premium thing or whatever, and probably a YouTube premium thing, I would imagine. I mean, you seem to be doing everything, man.
I just double post to YouTube and Instagram, and I kind of built a YouTube following on accident. So I have like almost 5,000 subscribers on there. I don't really do much with YouTube, but the Instagram subscription thing, some people are just like, I just want to support you, man. I'm like, thanks, dude. Cool. I bought a monster today.
I tell so many jujitsu practitioners this that, they should look at someone like you and you guys that are just super resourceful. You can get so much stuff done with this phone, just a phone, like you said.
Grow up poor and you'll be resourceful.
There you go.
That same concept with jujitsu. If you grow up in jujitsu weak and have to rely on technique solely, the moment you get some strength, like I'm not the strongest guy, but at 170 pounds, I'm pretty strong. And it makes jujitsu so easy when now that I have this tool.
Can you give me like a fondest childhood memory?
Uh, Looking back, my biological dad wasn't a bad man. Gonna bear with me for a moment. He just did not know how to raise 3 children by himself. But I remember that during springtime, I'd always get a cool toy, something really awesome. Like I got a dirt bike one year, and then he got me a stereo one year. And I never understood why I didn't get shit for Christmas, but I did in the spring. And then, no joke, like last year, I got my taxes back and bought all my kids' stuff, and then it popped into my head. I was like, ah, my dad tried. Like he really did do his best. I don't blame him at all anymore. But I used to ride dirt bikes a lot with my dad, and that was a lot of fun. I That was his thing, so it was kind of fun to do that. Now he's a fantastic grandfather. My All my kids have gotten to ride dirt bikes, and I realize the older I get, and I'm not even old yet, the more at my core I'm so much like him. I All I do is sit in my garage, tinker, mess with things, build things, and listen to metal. Like that's all I need. Like I have mats in my garage. I have my weights over there. I don't like anything else. And I've tried. I welded. I used to paint. I used to draw. I went to art. Like in my high school, like the secondary thing is art. I have lots of portraits and paintings and drawings. I just can't find anything I enjoy except physicality. That's what I feel I got from my dad is that ability to just do anything. Like I have no fear in trying something new physically.
Can you give me like an aha moment?
When I moved down here, I just started teaching here at the gym, and it just blew my mind one day because I always drill stand up and base, always sit in that stand up and base posture, and it just never clicked. Stand up and base is everything. Like every single technique requires you pivoting on 2 points, every one of them. And the moment I realized standing up and base, baseball sliding, and hip escaping and shrimping are all the exact same thing mechanically, my game skyrocketed. Even the hip bump triangle. weight is on my shoulder. This leg is on your shoulder, holding you down so you can't pick up your hand. It's just swiveling my hips underneath of that 2 points of contact. Everything's the same. And then I just kept applying that to everything I already knew. And how can I make that even better? And I haven't learned new technique in probably 2 years, maybe tweaks, but I just been relearning and, well, I guess applying more to what I know. That blew my own mind. I was like, why didn't I think of that earlier?
Can you tell me a time that you wanted to quit and why?
Never. I never wanted to quit. No joke. I know it sounds craziness. The day my son was born, I went to jiu-jitsu. Like literally, because again, Alex's was across the, like there's Kent General Hospital. Across the street was the Holy Cross Church, and that's where Alex was. Son was born, went over there. You can see in what's it called, a Jiu-Jitsu magazine when that was still a thing. He sent me the article, the guy who runs it. There's me in the hospital holding my newborn baby with my purple belt because I got my purple belt like 2 weeks before he was born, like a week before he was born.
Wow.
The good things, like all the good things in my life, I went to jiu-jitsu. Same with all the bad things. The day after my wife died, I went to jiu-jitsu. Doesn't matter. Good, bad, I don't care. I go to class, whether I'm the instructor or not, and do what I'm supposed to do. I've never once thought about quitting, ever. I've never even been demotivated. I'm like, that kind of sucked, but I just do it again tomorrow. Maybe that's an autism thing nowadays. I don't know. But I've just been obsessed with the concept of grappling since I started. It's Alberto and I, he's my one of my coaches. He used to run Team Viper. We got our second degree together in Mexico. But he said, I thought you would have burnt out by now because like every blue belt burns out when they're this obsessed, you know? I've seen it happen to countless of my guys. And here I am just as obsessed as I was when I started. Like it never gets old. I could sit here and talk about it for till you want to go to bed. It just doesn't get old. So generally, I don't believe anything is conceptually hard. Difficult, yes, or you can split hairs with your words, whatever. For example, I get in a lot of trouble saying being a stay-at-home parent is the easiest job in the world. I get to cook and clean and train all day and play with my toddler. This is awesome, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
And I
fantastic.
still do a job. I still go teach. I love what I do. I didn't think, and this is gonna sound crazy, I never thought jujitsu was hard. Just because you're not good at something doesn't mean it's hard or terrible. Like, I just wasn't good at it. I sucked. And that was the allure to me. I was terrible. I was all American as a freshman in high school in 3 sports, and I never even played those sports before. And then come to this thing where I think I'm awesome and then get destroyed by children. It's not hard. It just takes manageable goals, tiny manageable goals. It's like I have like a checklist every day, and I just like checking things off. But instead of clean my room, it's make my bed, pick up everything, do my laundry. It's a lot of little things, and they snowball, man. They're just snowballs. That's how jujitsu was for me. That's how everything is. When I was painting, that's how it was. The first thing I drew sucked, of course, and to just keep doing it. Just consistency. Yeah, you can boil it down however you want, but nothing is that hard if you just do it for 20, 30 minutes a day.
Yeah. So they say, eat the elephant one bite at a time, right?
It's true. Like the fact there's people who suck at their job that they do 8 hours a day for years blows my mind. How do you suck? I remember working at Radio Shack and I knew where all the parts were after a few months because I just would read the fucking labels. And the manager didn't know what shit was. And I'm like, bro, you've been here like 12 years. Are you stupid? And I'm not even like super smart. I just take concepts from one thing and apply it to the other. That's all I've ever done with anything. My lifting, I slowed, consistent grind, boring but big. It's literally called that 5-3-1, boring but big. I do 4 main lifts. That's all I do. Why make it hard? Consistency triumphs anything. I've been telling my students, you can't have complexity until you master simplicity.
And it's funny because I always talk to like these people that have went through the phases, especially like black belts that have been doing it for so long, and then they always come back to the fundamentals, the basics. You know what I mean? It's like a return. They've dabbled with all the fun stuff like we all do. It's nice to visit those, but yeah, the basics.
You know how they say the more money you have, the easier it is to make more money? That's what jiu-jitsu is. The more you know, the easier it is to learn more. It's so easy to go back to my armbar and add to it. because I don't even gotta think about it. I just do now. I could watch a YouTube video and just do it now.
That's almost an expectation that I have of black belts now. You know, I mean, it's something Riley Bodycomb spoke to me quite eloquently last time that black belts are they're just really good students. They can learn something like immediately. And sure enough, like if I explain something that I learned elsewhere to my particular coach, he gets it immediately. That's a black belt. They can just assimilate information.
Especially the old school guys. And I say that because they drilled body mechanics. They did the hip escape down the mat. They did front row, back row. 90% of jujitsu is those mechanics, and that's it. A berimbolo isn't hard. It's not anything crazy that you haven't done before. It's just taking basic mechanics you already know and reordering them. That's all it is. I came up with this about a year ago, and I've been thinking about it a lot. All jujitsu is a transition between two recognizable positions. And once you break it down to that, you can go so deep with it. Because let's say you're a white belt, you only recognize side control and mount. There's a transition to go between those two. You could probably think of three right now. But as you get deeper and deeper, let's go just like purple belt-ish, the two different types of De La Riva versus the foot on the thigh and foot on the hip. Those are two positions using a transition of off balance to go between them. You can even go deeper and go into that Ryan Hall inverted triangle stuff. He recognizes that position and how to transition in it. That is all it is, and I can't think of it ever changing at the moment. But that's the great thing about theories. They're designed to be proven wrong.
Well, Randy, on that note, where can we get more information about you and everything that you're up to, brother?
Literally Instagram, that's pretty much all I use. Like everyone DMs me. I chat with everyone. That's why I'm busy all the time. I just talk to people all day.
And then your offerings.
They are all on the links on my Instagram.
I'm lobbing them up for you, Randy. So go
Yeah,
to Randy's profile on IG. Check. He's got a great link tree link in there, which you click that, and everything's listed as well as his affiliates and where you get extra stuff, his sponsors and etc.
yeah, especially the Ears and Panther and World Bliss ones. They're my biggest supporters.
Well, everyone, I am your host, Adolfo Ferranda. Thanks everyone for watching and listening out there. Another week, become a VIP member. It's $1 a month. Don't be cheap. Come on. Like and subscribe, share with a friend. Really helps with the algorithm. Add a comment. Let us know how much you want Randy to stop doing fundamentals and start berimboloing all the time and to apply eco and let him know what a moron he is for shitting on eco. All right.
Exactly.
Randy, brother, thanks so much for making the time
Thank
and
you.
having this sit down with me.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. All right, you guys. We'll see you guys next time.